We are in Los Angeles, and I had somebody reach out that had a 65mm camera. It's technically the same format as like an IMAX camera. It's not an IMAX camera because apparently there is a difference there that I didn't even know about. But we're gonna check out this camera. I never seen it. I never held it. You probably can't hold it because it's heavy as shit. But again, it's one of those things that you kind of just seen in the movies. And I want to know everything about it. Maybe at some point shoot with it, but we probably gonna wait for that. And maybe at the end of the video, you can comment what you want me to shoot on this, because we are trying to shoot something on this. But again, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We're gonna check out the camera. We're gonna learn a little bit of that world because obviously I've shot a lot of different formats. I shoot a lot of 16. I love 16 format. Even been in movies that has been shot on 35, which is incredible. And I also shoot 35, 120, 4x5, 8x10 myself, but that is in the photo side. So this is kind of like the large format in video side. So I'm just curious to see how this camera works. I don't know, I literally don't know anything. So maybe it's your first introduction to the camera like this. It's definitely mine. So let's check out the camera. Let's geek out. Yeah, I don't know where to start on the questions, but I'll try to start somewhere. And what I understand, this is not an IMAX camera.
Correct. This is the same format as an IMAX camera. It's called 1570. This was not built by IMAX. It was built as an alternative. Only 3 of these were ever made because it's a very niche market.
Right.
But it was an alternative to their cameras, which are in very high demand and hard to get.
Right. The official IMAX manufacturer. And
they manufacture their own cameras.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is
the name is their property. So the format though is the same format. So each frame is exactly the same size.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the films on 65 ends up on a 70mm format.
Correct.
That we hear about in the IMAX theaters.
Correct.
And that is basically, it just gets projected over to 70mm or it gets printed on 70.
Correct. The 70mm release prints are 70mm wide.
Yeah.
But the perforations on the image are exactly the same as what the camera shoots, which is only 65mm.
Yep.
Because that extra 5mm is not needed in the camera because that's to make the print stronger when it runs through the projector many times.
Right.
And it was also originally there so they could put a 6-track Dolby sound.
Yeah. Right.
So it's still the format because it still makes great prints, but none of the cameras shoot 70. They all shoot 65mm.
Exactly. And it's obviously Kodak that delivers that film, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And is it all color film? Do you get black and white 65 as well?
There have been some special orders of black and white, but normal off the shelf, they only have a few stocks available at 65mm because it's just not in massive demand.
Right. How many cameras are they of this exact camera?
This exact model, there only 3 were ever built.
3
Yes.
Ever?
Yes, and they're still in existence.
Wow. Okay, and how many official IMAX cameras?
I think there's about 10 to 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those cameras are obviously the ones that, Christopher Nolan, et cetera, are using. Maybe exclusively sometimes him as well.
Yeah.
And he's developing some new camera. Is he still shooting on the same cameras that was made at that time, or is it any development in that format?
I'm not intimately familiar with all of the new developments, but many of the IMAX cameras in existence have been around for quite a while.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, they're all still working fine, but they've been upgraded, so they have more modern amenities.
Right.
Upgraded to digital video tap from the old analog because digital didn't exist when those cameras were built.
Right. Because you have the control panel here, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also new. This is not the original.
Yeah, this is new because the original electronics were 30 years old and they just weren't working. And so we, when these were acquired, the electronics just really were so outdated they had to go.
Right. And we have obviously the same concept of the lens, viewfinder, whatever you have to control the camera with, and the magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And how many feet does this magazine take?
This is a 1,000-foot magazine, which is really standard. In this format, which has the film running sideways, 1,000 feet of film will get you a little over 3 minutes of normal running time. So if you're running 24 frames, which is what the normal speed, not undercranked or overcranked.
Right. And this only has 1 frame rate, is that correct?
No, it is variable, but it maxes out at 24.
Right. So you can shoot less.
Well, you can shoot a different frame rate.
Okay.
That means if you're shooting 12 frames a second, that means you're undercranking, which means it's going to appear too quick.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to appear faster than normal when you project it, because projection is always at 24 frames.
Yeah. Same as you shoot 8mm that maybe people are familiar with.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And it will just be a little faster.
Correct.
Type of
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
This camera does not shoot high speed. In other words, it does not do anything in slow motion.
Yeah. Exactly. Because it could it if it wanted to, or it's just too much for the mechanics.
The original specs on the camera said that it could. We decided to cap it at a safe 24 frames.
Right.
Just to protect the mechanics of the camera.
Yeah. And I think, like, again, we like hear about this format, and I feel like maybe even for me, like the first times I really paid attention to it was like Interstellar. Like it wasn't the whole movie was shot on it, right? It was just some scenes,
certain sequences. You know, all of these cameras are big and loud.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to do a lot of sound recording.
Yeah.
So frequently, what they do is they get a smaller format,
Yeah.
which is called 5perf 65 or 570. And those cameras are lighter and much quieter. So typically what a director will do is they'll shoot intimate dialogue scenes with one of those cameras, and then use the larger cameras for the bigger stuff, which sound can be recorded later.
There's a handful of directors that are shooting with this.
Correct.
And these are shooting on the official IMAX cameras. This was originally made for nature documentaries.
Correct. This was originally intended for nature documentaries.
Right.
The cameras are big and loud. They were not really designed for the pace of regular feature filmmaking because they are just big and heavy.
Yeah.
So really they found a niche in a lot of science documentaries, travelogues, things they show at theme parks and event museums.
Okay. You can probably open this up and there's a lot of different parts, right?
Yeah, really, this is a much larger version of a standard film camera. The parts are much bigger, there's a lot more forces involved, but you know, all the standard parts of a film camera are here.
Right. And like, just for what I know, like you have to maintain this a lot, or
there's a lot of forces involved. There's a lot of inertia. There's a lot of heat buildup in the moving mechanical parts. So this gets oiled every reload.
Every reload.
Every 1,000 feet, it really needs to get. It's a very small amount of oil, but it really keeps the parts moving smoothly.
Right.
That's no different than other cameras. It's just more frequent.
Right. Okay. And then like you have a viewfinder that goes directly into. You can mount a screen to this. Like you can.
Well, this camera here actually has a video tap inside this.
Right.
So you can put a digital monitor on. You can get a digital signal out of that video tap. So you can view off of a monitor.
So you see actually through the lens everything, like the exact frame.
Correct.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what mount is this?
This is called an IMAX mount.
IMAX mount.
Yeah.
Okay. And you can call it an IMAX mount because is it IMAX that made it?
That's my understanding. Probably when they came up with the format. And
obviously no autofocus, right? And it's pretty fast, like 4 f4 on these ones.
Yeah, this lens, you know, it's a Hasselblad lens. It has not been what we call in the industry rehoused,
right?
Where the focus scales are expanded for a lot of modern filmmaking, because this particular lens was really designed for the nature documentaries.
Right.
So that's a different application of focus than in your standard Hollywood feature film.
Right. Can you get do you use other lenses for it?
There are other lenses, and you can adapt lenses.
Yeah.
It's sort of a production by production.
Right. Because it's very specific per production. They are looking to shoot different formats, some mixed formats.
Correct. And they may have some special desire for a different look, because every lens has its own look.
Yeah, exactly.
So certain projects and certain directors of photography may want a very specific look, and so they may want a very specific type of lens.
Yeah.
If that lens can cover this format, it can probably be adapted.
Yeah.
As long as it works with the mechanics of the camera.
Because do you use the same mount then, and just kind of, let's say, step up or step down from it, or do you change the whole mount of it?
It's a very complicated, very precision machining.
Okay.
It is not easy,
Right.
and it takes specialists.
Right.
Yeah.
Because everything here pretty much takes specialists, right?
Correct. Yeah.
And like, can we run this? Can we? Because
Sure.
it's kind of loud, right?
Okay, so let's fire her up. This is running at 24 frames, which is standard motion picture photography speed.
Yeah, it would be different to do a dialogue in a sound like this. It would probably not work. Okay. And it's like, and you see different boxes built for it, like the old footage where they used to have the big cameras. That's not the same cameras, but the cameras in how, like, small built houses.
Yeah,
on
I mean,
sets, right?
this right here is the easiest way to use it. It's just the camera. There's no enclosures around it. If we were going in weather, we have an enclosure that protects us from the weather or
Yeah.
from rain. There's an underwater housing, so you can go deep underwater and then control the camera remotely.
Okay.
We actually have a sound blimp for this as well, and that's
Okay.
designed to quiet the camera so you can record sound while the camera's rolling.
Oh wow.
Makes it a little more. It's a little bulkier and a little harder to use,
Yeah.
but it does make it quieter.
Okay. Wow, yeah, that obviously makes it different. And is it like every time something goes wrong with the camera like this is all parts, obviously some are like changed with the control panel, etc., but like how hard is it to get parts for something like this?
Well, these cameras are all hand built one by one.
Yeah.
So there are no off-the-shelf parts. You need to have things made, unless you can find some old parts that were never put into a camera.
Yeah.
We don't know if there are any.
Right.
But yeah, if something broke, you would probably have to have it custom remachined.
Yeah. And like, how can I ask for like what these goes for? Like IMAX cameras, like
Well,
Does-
IMAX cameras are rental only, so
Yeah.
the purchase price is kind of unknown.
right, because
Yeah.
IMAX official, you can only rent.
Correct.
Nobody owns them.
Correct.
Even Nolan doesn't own
Correct.
any cameras.
That's correct.
Amazing. Okay. So if you were to come across anything like this, a price for something like this, obviously, like, it's very few and they're all like built out differently. You have done some changes and stuff, like, but what is like a pricing for a camera like this?
Well, it's really hard to put a price on something that's custom built, especially something that only a few of them were ever built and it wasn't recently.
Yeah.
But a camera like this is probably usually going to be insured for $1 million.
Okay. Wow. So we got a potential $1 million, right?
Potential, yeah.
Potential.
Yeah.
That is crazy. This is such a crazy world, and it's one of those things where, like, again, you only see it in the movies type of thing.
Correct,
And you
yeah.
see some behind the scenes photos,
Yeah.
and like you're curious of how these actually works, and like you don't really get an insight on it. So like to be able to see it firsthand like this is like, it's really special. It's really, really cool. And is it like a lot of demand, like other than like the big films that like chooses cameras like this?
There's always people that want to shoot in this format. It's very popular right now. I can't say that we have another job for this right now.
Yeah.
But it's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to take that too, because obviously shooting film is expensive. We're talking about the price of the camera is one thing, but we're talking about 3.5 minutes, like pretty much normal, like same as almost 8mm that people had a reference for. That's pretty much the same almost. And what a roll, let's say buying a roll, developing a roll, scanning a roll.
Oh, I have no idea.
You have no idea.
I know. I don't do any of that.
Right.
I don't do. Yeah. I tell production to buy film, and they deal with it.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know anything about the pricing.
Right.
Or what it costs. I've never bought 65.
Right.
I've bought 16mm a long time ago. But,
Yeah.
I have no idea what it costs.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like, I buy a lot of 16 that I shoot, and I don't even look at the price tag, so I can only imagine that, like,
Right.
I would probably not look at the price tag
Yeah.
if I walk
And,
into something like this.
and the price of the stock also varies.
Yeah.
It depends on how much you're buying.
Yeah.
Sometimes they have deals. They might have short ends left over from a show. Like sometimes a show is done shooting and they have leftover film, they sell it off just to make some of their money back.
Yeah.
So that's another way to get film, is you can find a broker who carries film.
Right. Well, thank you so much for showing me this.
Yeah,
I really appreciate it. This is amazing.